the nephew of Sarvabhauma Bhattacharya, his name was Govinda Acharya, also learned, very learned, was there. And he heard that commentary. And he took birth in the 1700s as Baladev Vidyabhushan. We'll come to that later. So Mahaprabhu gave a perfect explanation, of course, of the Vedanta Sutra, and he says there's no need for interpretation. Shankaracharya has twisted the meanings of the original sutras, but without necessity, there is no reason to reinterpret the original sutras. They should be accepted in their literal convention. They shouldn't be twisted in the direction of an impersonal conclusion, which is what you have done, Sarvabhauma. And there's no sensibility in it. There's no logic or sensibility, because you're distorting the meanings, and in the Maya Shakti, everything is mutually contradictory, unsatisfactory, and ultimately a will o' the wisp. So Mahaprabhu gave him that teaching, and that important place is there, because after Mahaprabhu manifested the Sadbhuj form. So Haridas sent Sachi Devi there, and there in Puri she also subsisted by Madhukari and this and that, but she also studied the Srimad Bhagavatam very closely, and she started to give discourses in the Bhagavatam. And her discourses were super attractive. Many people came. And eventually the king came. His name was Mukunda Dev. Yes. So, at this time she didn't have control of that place at all, but the king was very impressed of her Bhagavatam, and she was getting good name everywhere. So one day it came to the appearance day of Ganga Devi. It's all tied together, this Leela, these three acharyas, you should understand that, these three great devotees. So she had taken a vow to remain in Puri, to try and fulfill the order of Haridas, her guru, to re-establish, clean up, and the house of Sarvabhauma Bhattacharya, who had passed on. So they all went off, the devotees, her associates, to Ganga Devi. And Ganga Mata was thinking, oh my God, what's going to happen? I can't go, I've taken, never mind. But that night she had a dream. Previously, in the previous yugas, there was one king who had established Sweta Ganga. And so she had a dream. In the middle of the night, Sachi Devi, you take bath in the Sweta Ganga. And she did so on the night of the appearance of Ganga Devi. And suddenly, by taking bath in the thing, she was carried away into the temple in front of Lord Jagannath. And all her friends were there. And they were all taking bath in front of the deity of Jagannath, Baladev, Subhadra. Mystically, she had been transported into the temple. And so outside, the guards heard this big commotion. So it's against the rules to open the deity doors at an unspecified time. So they called the king. And the king said, no, there's something going on. Open the doors. They opened the doors, and Ganga Mata was there, alone, having taken bath. And they thought, this is a criminal, come to steal the property of the deity. And it's understood that later they all had these doubts. They all became afflicted by various diseases, afflictions. And the king having taken possession of Ganga Mata to see what was going on. How did you get in this temple? How is it possible? Lord Jagannath himself appeared to the king and instructed him that you must not chastise Sachi Devi. She is actually a great devotee and you are causing great offense. Now if you want to overcome these afflictions, then you must take Diksha from her. Very interesting. Sometimes people wonder, can women give Diksha? Here is the example. But of course, she was qualified to give Diksha. So Ganga Mata said, the king approached, and Ganga Mata initially said, no, I don't want. I don't want to give Diksha. But then she was borne upon the story, the dream was explained, and she eventually said, okay, I will give Diksha to just you, the king. And in that way, everyone will be initiated, your servants. So that happened. And the king offered her great tracts of land as Guru Dakshin, but she refused. But she said, let me re-establish Ganga Mata, the house of Sarvabhauma Bhattacharya. Oh, and at this point, that's how she got the name of Ganga Mata Goswamini. And so the king said, well, I also want to give some dakshin. So she said, well then, send 2, in Jagannath Puri you've seen the big pots of rice. Send 2 pots of rice and 1 pot of vegetable, Jagannath Prasad, every day, as well as 160 pice, that was quite a bit of money in those days, and 1 cloth every day to the mat. And help me polish up the mat, clean it up, it's fallen into disrepair. And so in that way, the order of her guru was fulfilled. So we should understand that a bona fide guru, his order carries the potency for its fulfillment. Srila Prabhupada was sent to America, or to the world actually, and to translate books, and he did that very successfully by the blessings of his guru. So Ganga Mata, she remained there, and it's explained she lived to 121 years, 120 years. And you can take bath there in the Sweta Ganga that was named there. So there's more details in here. I read it last night. So now we'll quickly move on to Baladev Vidyabhushan. Now, he was listening to the Vedanta Sutra spoken by Mahaprabhu to Sarvabhauma. Now, as Govindacharya. Now, the exact birthday of Baladev Vidyabhushan is not known, but he was born in the 1700s because he's mentioned by Vishwanath Chakravarti in his Stavamala, which also mentions the Battle of Plassey, which took place in 1757. So Baladev was alive at that time in the early 1700s. So he studied in Orissa and became very expert in grammar, poetry and logic in Sanskrit, and he began his studies of Vedanta. But then he went down to the Tattvavadis, the followers of Madhvacharya, and he became very impressed with the commentary on Vedanta by Madhvacharya. So he took sannyas in the Madhvacharya line and spent many years there worshipping the deity there. He was initiated by Radha Damodar Goswami. Eventually he came to Vrindavan to study the Bhakti Shastras. Radha Damodar Goswami. And he studied the Satsandarbhas under Radha Damodar Goswami. Eventually he studied the Bhagavatam from Vishwanath Chakravarti and the Bhagavat Puran under Vishwanath. And at this point he took the Vairagi's dress, becoming then he was given at this time Ekanti Govindadas. So he wrote many, many books, but the very famous incident, and that took place in Jaipur with the Govindaji deity. The Govindaji deity was the great affection of the king of Jaipur at that time. But the Pandits of Jaipur, they were Ramanandis. It was in Galta. They were saying, well, these Gaudiyas, we don't know what they're doing. They don't seem to have any proper sampradaya. They don't seem to have any understanding of Vedanta. And worshipping Krishna with Radharani, that is very fallacious. Lakshmi Narayan, they're married. The consort of Vishnu is married. So they sent a challenge. The king then had the Pandits on one side saying this worship of Govindaji with Radharani is not correct, and he had his wife on the other side. So how to resolve the problem? But before we get into the resolution of the problem, we should understand who would win, right? The Pandits or the wife? Tell me who will win. Yes. So anyway, the king said, okay, we'll send for some great Gaudiya Pandit, and he will have a debate with you Ramanandis, and we'll see what is correct. Because these were the 3 points of challenge. Who is this Radharani? She's not married to Krishna. Where is your understanding of Vedanta? And what sampradaya are you? So they sent, and the big acharya in Vrindavan was Vishwanath, but Vishwanath was very advanced in age. This was in the later 1700s. So he sent Baladev Vidyabhushan, who was much younger and his Shiksha disciple. And Baladev went there, and he answered by all scriptural reference. He established Srimati Radharani as the Swarup Shakti and the sublime nature of Parakiya Bhav as opposed to Swakiya Bhav, which is paramour love compared to married love, and how actually ultimately everyone is related to Krishna. So he established Radharani as the Swarup Shakti. He established that the Gaudiyas are in the Madhva line, but they said you're giving a certain new interpretation of Madhvas. So now you have to, where's your Vedanta commentary? So then in 7 days Baladev wrote the Govinda Bhasya. He sat in front of his deity, and it is reported that Govinda Bhasya, means a commentary by Govinda, dictated the commentary to Baladev. They wrote together the commentary. And he established that the Gaudiyas are connected to the Madhva line. So that was all established. And they gave the Govinda Bhasya to the Pandits, and at this point he was given the name, his name was Ekanti Govindadas. When he took Diksha, he was given the name Vidyabhushan, which means the jewel of learning. So Baladev, we're all greatly indebted to him. He has completely established the validity of the worship of Srimati Radharani. You may take it for granted actually, but before Mahaprabhu bringing forward the importance of Swarup Shakti Srimati Radharani, the understanding of Krishna and Radharani as Shakti and Shaktimam was very much absent, very much covered. But that is given by Mahaprabhu, the six Goswamis, but firmly established in Shastric understanding through the Govinda Bhasya. And of course then the queen got her way and to this day Govinda and Srimati Radharani are worshipped there in the palace in Jaipur. So there are many, many books of Baladev. Is very famous also one small book, Prameya Ratnavali, where he gives the 9 points, Prameya, points to be proved by the Pradhan, by the Vedas, the 9 points of Gaudiya philosophy. Those 9 primary points are Hari Ishvara, Supreme Lord Hari, Radha and Krishna are the ultimate controllers. There's nobody superior or equal to them. Sarva Shaktimam, Achincha, that he is possessed of inconceivable unlimited potencies. Rasavai Saha, that all the mellows that we see existent in this world, affection, the 7 primary rasas, 7 secondaries, 33 sancharis, all these bhavas and moods, they are embodied within Krishna. Then the 4th one, Jiva Angsa, the living entity is the eternal part of Krishna. And then he is found in the conditioned state and he is found in the liberated state. So that's 3 points on the Jiva. And then the ultimate understanding is Achincha Beda Bed, that everything is simultaneously the Krishna and yet Krishna is apart from the creation. That is point number 8. They are Sambandha Gyan, 7 points of Sambandha Gyan. And then the 8th point is Bhakti is the sadhana, not anything else. Bhakti Mam Abhijananti. And then Prem Prayojana, that is the 9th of the Prameya Ratnavali. So that is the basis of many of the works of Bhakti Vinod Thakur, the Dasamula. So they were formulated in this era by Baladev Vidyabhushan and presented through the Govinda Bhasya. So the debt we owe to these acharyas, to Ganga Devi, to Baladev Vidyabhushan is unlimited. We should study their life. It will inspire us. And it will teach us what is the real standard of devotion. Ganga Mata Goswami, she's chanting 3 lakhs a day, living by Madhukari. And we're struggling to do 16 rounds. And if we learn 10 slokas, we think I'm a learned pandit. But Baladev Vidyabhushan is like an ocean, a great ocean of knowledge, of Vedic literature, knowing poetry, grammar, logic and everything. But of course we shouldn't be discouraged, because ultimately Vedesha Dolama Dolama Atma Bhakto, what catches the heart of Krishna is devotion. So whatever abilities we have, whatever potency we have, with Mam Namaskaru, Madhyaji, we should offer that to Krishna. These are great empowered acharyas, great personal associates. We should follow in their footsteps and dedicate whatever we have to Krishna. Just like when Nanda Maharaj on Dasera today, he went to worship Ganga Devi. And you'll read in Krishna book, Prabhupada writes there, that after the Brijbasis and Nanda Maharaj, they took the trip to worship Ganga Devi. And then at the end of their ritual worship of Ganga Devi, they all sat together and Nanda Maharaj pronounced, "May the Supreme Lord be satisfied by our worship." So this is pure bhakti. It's not asking for any fruit. It just wants to dedicate whatever we have in the service of Krishna. That is the way to capture Krishna. Okay, we've gone over time. Sorry about that. All these very important personalities. Thank you all very much. Sri Baladev Vidyabhushan ki, Sri Ganga Mata ki, Sri Appearance Day of Ganga Devi ki. All glories to Srila Prabhupada. Srimad Bhagavatam Sadhu Sangha ki. Jai.